This is Hallicrafters Rehabs. Welcome back. Well, this is what an SX-100 looks like with the face taken off, and the S-meter, of course, has to be removed, and tubes removed and so forth. It just needs a good cleaning. And I don't have a compressor. I have a poor man's compressor right here. Actually, this has been in my shack under a shelf, and I put a laptop cooling fan on top of it, which draws air through it, creates a lot of dust. So on the one hand, it stays cool, it really does, compared to otherwise, but on the other hand, it collects a lot of dust. And then I have this stuff's really cheap, but it has an advantage over this is the poor man's stuff here. This is also the poor man's electronic cleaner too, because it has no petroleum residue, whereas I'll put that in a second. Deoxit has a little bit of residue on it. In particular, the sages at Hallicrafters groups say that particularly the phenol switches that are in the phenol wafers in the switches on the underside absorb the deoxit and swell. Whereas this stuff is just so volatile, it's gone very quickly, and is much safer to use on phenol. It will not provide any lubrication, but it does help clean off electronics pretty well. You can see this needs some work. I've tested out just ordinary turtle wax chrome polish. They don't give me nothing for this, and it does as good a job as this semi-chrome polish. It's a whole lot cheaper, so I'll probably go through this wherever I can and just clean it up a little bit more. Here I have to hold it, but I'm going to just go over these switches on the outside. I think I'm going to have to get the other can. I finally used up this one. Okay, that's it, and so I got my work cut out. I'm going to enjoy an afternoon polishing in this beautiful weather today. So this is what an SX-100 looks like with the cover off, and so I think what I'm going to do, I don't want to go through it all, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray it off with some poor man's. This is the dust coming off. I don't think this has ever been done. Here's a part. low cost QD electronic cleaner. A lot cheaper than the other stuff. Deoxit. This does help a lot. I was just thinking, this looks like it's been a smoker's receiver. And a lot of that crud is coming right off with this. That's neat. I was going to say that if anybody knows of a shortcut to get rid of smoker's goo, I think I found it. And it doesn't matter because this stuff just is so volatile. Seems like I've done this before. Let's see. First to spray. This. SX-100. Consider an ordinary human being with the odd desire to restore obscure old radios that nobody wants. Hallicrafters. And it seems like everything he does is twice. Could it be he has entered the twilight zone? Or as Yogi Berra would say, deja vu all over again. No, it's not deja vu. This is the other one. We're going to do a twofer instead of a one where because we can. And we're able to do it. So this is the first time I did get a peek earlier. I've had a look underneath and it's not been restored. I don't know if you can see this. Yeah. And I'm seeing, instead of the other one with some wonderful spray ceramic capacitors with the orange lettering on it, we have these cheap ceramic capacitors that actually not going to make a lot of difference. And this is interesting too. Apparently he's had trouble with the, this is a replacement capacitor here, he's had the trouble that I've had. In fact, that's not a bad technique. I've got some of those now. Let's blow it off first. Full of pink inside. By the way, I pulsed Mr. Carlson's lab and asked him about these tiny Jeeps as to whether or not they had any better temperature coefficient. He said, no, they're just, he calls them tiny griefs. And they are actually every bit as useless. Well, I see he's replaced that roundy that was in there. So he's done a little bit of servicing. I'm surprised he kept these. Maybe he's reached, no, they're not reached up. And he kept the bumblebee. So this has been serviced some time ago in the past. Which tells you that the roundy was out of spec maybe 25, 30 years ago. So, clean it up a little bit. This will be interesting because this is not original. That's not original. But somebody knew what they were doing when they put this in here, so they're able to tune that. In fact, I'm pretty impressed with the servicing there. It's got ceramic capacitors in it. These all look good. The one that failed on me was somewhere in here. I don't see it. That's it. That's the capacitor that failed on me. It caused the radio to quit working. I don't know if you can see that. It's a little ceramic capacitor over there. So these bumblebees will have to go. I'm not going to turn this on before because of all the capacitors in there and the bumblebees and this electrolytic over here behind here. You can't see it right now, but the electrolytic has been replaced maybe 15 or 20 years ago, it looks like. Well, I pretty much finished this can too. So, they don't have Clorox wipes in North Carolina right now, but I can put Clorox on a wipe, and I think that's what I'm going to do to clean this up a little bit. And I'll do that with the other one too, and I'll put some of that turtle wax, see how that turtle wax chrome polish works on it too. So I got a nice, pleasant, oh, one more thing, two more things. So, I don't know, it's me, or it's my luck, or it's Hallicrafters, but these rotary switches, that's brass, and it's a brass too, but the knob was welded almost. Where's that knob? To the switch. And I spent an entire, here's that knob. I want you to know, this is a last resort, drilling these things out. Now I actually have sprung for a full set of knobs, so hopefully among the full set of knobs will be the replacement for this. Kind of interesting on the inside, it's aluminum. This is not just a cheap plastic knob. But there was no removing that set screw. And there you go. You can't take the face off without removing this knob. So I drilled a little bit, drilled a little bit, and this went on all afternoon till I got this knob out. So there's one more danger, and I want to go back and get that part and show it to you. I'll be right back. Okay, I saw on the big auction site, used radio auction site, you know what I'm talking about, a beautiful SX-100 for sale. And this is the pitch control. That is a shaft that goes through a slug that is inside a core. And it had broken off. And if you don't look carefully, you could miss it. And they had the knob just hanging off, kind of to tell you that, yeah, it's broken off. Then it didn't sell. Wonder why. Then again it was on, and this time this was removed. Like they're trying to cheat you. These have a sleeve. Now in the SX, let me put this in the SX-71, there's nothing but a little, it's just a long brass screw. okay, that's been molded, where the ferrite or whatever that slug is, has been molded on one end, and it just goes out, and it has a little flathead screw slot in it. And there, everyone is bent because it's located over here. So, okay, why is it bent? Because people are not careful in manipulating these 9-ton radios, and they bend it by accident, not intentionally. So the SX-99 also has the same, but they moved it into this position, which is less damage. But this is actually a superior design. This is more substantial here, even though that whoever owned that radio had broke it. And there's a sleeve that goes over it, which is great. Except you got to look at this set screw. Listen carefully. It does not clear the face. You have to remove the set screw and take this out in order to remove the face. I was sitting there, what is holding this face on? I could have very easily damaged that face by trying to force it. Finally figured that out. So be very careful in taking the face off. You have to remove this as part of everything else you're removing to get the face off. So I'm going to spend the day nicely cleaning with a little bit of Clorox and wipes, and see how much I can do, and a little polish maybe. Okay, this is after a day's work. Polished this off as best I could with this chrome polish, using these Mr. Clean Magic erasers, wet wipes dipped in Clorox, since there's no Clorox wipes in North Carolina right now. And I did have to use Scotch-Brite. It's almost equivalent to 4-aught steel wool to get in most of the all the grime off, but the grime did come off. These cleaned up very nicely. It's still dirty to your look, but they're a huge improvement. Using trisodium phosphate in the ultrasonic cleaner, and see, I can get that cleaned off pretty easy. So, but for as a first cut clean, it's really good. Now, this is the assembly for the crystal, and that capacitor will probably be okay. But it goes, this I'll probably paint. This I probably won't, but this goes on the underside like that. You put the crystal in here, and there's a tube that goes in there, and that fits over that side. This is the main tuning capacitor, and it cleaned up very, very nice. It was coated with, the cigarette stuff, and tell you what, clean up one of these radios and you'd never consider smoking. So this just really did nice. I'll put some, but I've already put the bow shield on here to prep it for painting, and I'll put some on this and these other parts as well. Some of this will not get painted, but it's all gear drive. Very nicely done. These come out pretty easy, except for the fact that you need a good assortment of, you need some WD-40 and a good assortment. As Phillips had screws to fit exactly inside that head, which is not a sharp pointed Phillips head, to get that loose. But I did get it loose. But these assemblies are very easy to work with and get in and out. Here's where that goes right here. So, yeah. And the dial string is just a straightforward one turn around here, one turn around there. steel dial string. So it came out pretty easily. So all in all, it's a good day's work. This is not finished yet. It has a screws in the bottom that go up into a plate that is screwed to the bottom of this box. And the screws in the bottom come out. You desolder 4 or 5 or 6 wires on the bottom side, and then it just lifts out. And then you can take that cover, you can't see it, but that cover's on the bottom here. It has 4 screws in the side. Take that out, and then you can service what's inside and clean all that up as best you can. When that's out, I can finish cleaning up the surface under here. This does not come off. It's welded in. It's in there pretty solid. It's riveted or something. We're not going to take it out. Don't do that. You can get around and you can clean everything out without taking this box out. So, good day's work on the Mark I, the receiver that I was going to originally restore in the first place. And this will be, I'll put some bow shield on this, and then I'll put probably, yeah, it's time to take it into the shop and get it ready to desolder the underside so I can take this center box out. So that's what's next on this. Meanwhile, we'll get started on the other one. So it's a good day's work. Okay, so I put all these parts in the ultrasonic cleaner and with the trisodium phosphate, and then I sprayed them down with the Bow Shield T9, and they came out really well. The flywheel assembly and the main tuning condenser, all very clean for the age of the equipment and so forth. And the Bow Shield was dried in the sun. Now, there again, some of this will have to be painted, but this will not be painted. And I did lubricate it with lithium grease in the bearings, so these are ready to go back on when I finish the chassis cleanup. In order to do the chassis cleanup, I'm going to have to remove that 1650 IF assembly, or actually it's a 50 kilohertz assembly, whatever it is. That box, IF box. This is a screw here, and there's one over here buried under there, and one under here maybe. It'll take some work. They've used this armored, they've used a spring as an armored shield. I don't like that very well because it's really hard to work with, and you don't really need an armored shield, but they did that, so that'll have to be desoldered here. That's the ground part. It connects into this tube here, 6BA6 I believe at this point. Then this shielded cable comes in and connects with one of the IF transformers. That's an input. This is an output, which will go into the box which is used for the notch filter. So that gets desoldered. There's 2 wires that come up here and a green wire. The one I haven't figured out yet is which one is the tube heater circuit for the 12AT6. So, at any rate, these will have to be desoldered, and then the screws can be removed and the box will come right out. I'm not going to do that today. Did a lot of yard work and a little tired, so we're going to wait till this weekend to tackle getting inside there. Once that box is removed, we can finish cleaning and paint the chassis. So that's where it stands right now. This is Hallicrafters Rehab. Thanks for watching.